Morning, children. How are you? You cannot tell the answer to me. You cannot reply, na, because this online video. If I am in the class and you are in the class, you all will shout. Yes, how you will shout? Good morning, teacher, like that. So you are all missing those. I am also missing you all. But we have to continue in this way, na. Today we have to start our next part of our lesson, matter around us. The last part, we have done one activity. In that, few children have sent the pictures. Very few. I can count on my fingers. Only those children have sent the pictures. So very bad on your part. Please try. If it is not there, do with the Dettol. I told, na, not only with chemicals. Very few has done the activity. Okay, no problem. But I hope you have understood because the presentation is good. So like that, continue the same response for me for the this part also. I hope the things you have understood, the activities and all. In today's class also we have to do few activities. So here one more activity. There exists a space between the particles. What you have to take a beaker and fill with some water and mark the water level. Add some salt and stir it thoroughly with a glass rod. Observe if there is any change in the water level. Add some more salt and again stir it again. Now again you observe the change in the level of water. So what you are going to observe here, as some salt you are added, so we will not see any rise in the level of water. So this is the picture what I have explained. Take a beaker with water, add salt and stir it, and you have to observe the level of water rises or not. So in this activity, we can conclude that both solids and liquid particles have some space between them. Hence, the solid particles enter into the space between the liquid particles on dissolving solid in liquids. So, there is no change in the level of water when you have added the sugar, sugar or salt. So, from the activities, we can conclude liquid particles in a liquid have some space between them, and the solid particles enter into the space between the liquid particles on dissolving solid in liquid. So we have to remember that interparticle spaces are called as voids. The size and number of the spaces, however, differ from one kind of matter to other kind of matter. And one more thing you have to remember, gas is also made up of tiny particles and they have a larger space between them. So whatever the activities we have discussed, we understood that a space is between any state of matter, but a question comes in your mind that whether these particles are stationary or they are continuously moving. So for this, you have to carry out an experiment. What is this? Take an unlit agarbatti and stand in the one corner of your room. So if you want, ask your friend whether he is getting the smell of that agarbatti. So no, he may not get the smell of the agarbatti until and unless he comes to you. And one more thing I will tell you, what you have to do. Now lit an agarbatti. So ask him to stand there only wherever he stood first. Now you ask him whether he is getting the smell. Now he'll tell yes, because the particles of matter are continuously moving, so they possess kinetic energy. As the temperature rises, the kinetic energy also increases and the particles move faster. So already I have discussed about this uh, hot cooked food and cold food. Okay, keep that in the mind. When the agarbatti is not lit, the temperature is low. So the kinetic energy of the particles is very low. The particles of the agarbatti do not mix with the particles of the air there. So that is why until and unless you go to the agarbatti, you will not smell it. But when the agarbatti is lit, the temperature rises and hence the kinetic energy of the agarbatti particles also increases. So the particles of this agarbatti stick more rapidly and more rapidly intermix with the particles of air. So that is the reason you are getting the smell when agarbatti lit in one corner, you are standing in the other corner. So next one is particles of matter attract each other. So what is this? Particles of matter have force acting between them. That means this force keep the particles together. So the strength of the force of attraction, however, differs from one kind of matter to another kind of matter. So for this, what you have to do, open a water tap and allow the water to reach the ground. Now try to break the stream of water with your finger. Can you break the stream permanently? We cannot break the stream permanently. Now try to break a piece of iron nail with a hammer. Are you able to do it? We cannot also break a piece of iron nail with your hands, but we can break a piece of chalk with our hands. And take one rubber band and break it. Can you break it? Yes, you can do it. So the particles of iron nail are held together by strongest force followed by a piece of chalk, while particles of rubber band are held together by weakest forces of attraction. So from the above observations, we can say that particles of matter have forces acting between them that keeps the particles together. So that means this force is not equally strong and is different in different forms of matter. So you have to remember 3 points here. Like particles of matter have space between them. Particles of matter are continuously moving. Particles of matter attract each other. These all comes under the characteristic properties of particles of matter. So remember these all points, and this also comes under the physical nature of matter. Here, all whatever we have learnt, we have to tabulate all the three states of matter depending upon the property. So one after the other, I will tell, just listen, and you have to write this all in assignment also. So first one comes packing. So what is meant by packing? The constant particles. We have learned what are the particles and all we have learned. The constant particles are very closely packed in solids. The constant particles are less closely packed in liquids. The constant particles are very free to move about in gaseous state. Now, next property, interparticle distances. Interparticle distances in solids are smallest. In liquids, the interparticle distances are larger than those in solids but smaller than those in gases. So, when it comes to gases, the interparticle distances are the largest. Interparticle forces of attraction. The interparticle forces of attraction are strongest in solids. When it comes to liquids, the interparticle forces of attraction are weaker than those in solids but stronger than those in gases. When it comes to gas, the interparticle forces of attraction are the weakest. Next, fourth property is shape and volume. They have a definite shape and volume. Solids, when it comes to liquid, they have a definite volume but no definite shape. When it comes to gas, they have neither a definite shape nor a definite volume. Now the fifth property is compressibility. So solids are completely incompressible. We have learned in examples also in the parts completed. Liquids are almost incompressible. Gases are highly compressible. Next property is rigidity and or fluidity. So solids possess rigidity. Liquids can flow. Therefore, they possess fluidity, which is lower than that of gases. When it comes to gases, gases flow more easily than liquids and thus have the highest fluidity. Next property is particle motion. Particles can only vibrate about their mean position, that means moving the other side of a particle position. So, solids have only vibratory motion. I hope you have learned in 7th standard about this different types of motion. Just recollect those. Next, when it comes to liquids, particles of liquids have greater freedom of motion, so they have a translational and rotational in addition to vibrational motion. Next, in gases, particles of gas have maximum freedom of motion, so they are according to the packing of particles. So hence they have a large translational, rotational, vibrational motion. Next property is energy. In solids, their particles have minimum energy. In liquids, their particles have energy higher than those of solids. When it comes to gas, their particles have highest energy. Next property is density. Solids have high density. Liquids density is lower than those of solids but much higher than that of gases. When it comes to gas, they are generally having very low densities. What is density? Density is mass per volume. In detail, you are going to learn in 9th standard about the density. Whole one chapter is there. So, when it comes to diffusion, in solid, they normally do not show the property of diffusion. But although we have few rare examples of diffusion of one solid into another. Already I have discussed this example whatever the classes I completed. So when it comes to liquids, they show the property of diffusion. As a result, solids, liquids and gases all can diffuse into liquids. We have learned various activities regarding this. Next, when it comes to gas, they diffuse very rapidly. So that is, the rate of diffusion is however is inversely proportional to the square root of its density. So what is this? This is nothing but Graham's law of diffusion. This also we have learned. Thus, lighter gases diffuse more rapidly than the heavier ones. This also we have learned in one of the activity, that is ammonia and HCl activity. So all this whatever we have learned up to now is all the properties of solids, liquids and gases. So in today's class we have learned what is that the characteristics of particles of matter, that is particles of matter have spaces between them. Particles of matter are continuously moving. Particles of matter attract each other. Not only that, until now, what all the topics we completed, basing on those activities or whatever the things we came to a conclusion, and we have categorized all the things what you have learned in a tabular form of three states of matter, that is solids, liquids, and gases. Okay, with this, we have completed one part of the lesson. Thank you, children.